Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View, where you get your daily morning Celtic news every morning at 9 o'clock in the morning on the One Celtic Fans View channel. Tomorrow, before we talk about the team selection, and we're doing the team selection live on the video today, before we talk about the team selection, let's talk about the game tomorrow. Hibernian sits 7th in the league, and over the last 5 games, they went through a pretty repetitive form of they lost a game, they then drew a game, they lose a game, then they draw a game, then they lost the last game. Does that mean that they're going to draw their next game? Well, hopefully not, because if Celtic drop any more points, it'll be complete mayhem online with the Celtic fans, and people will be calling even more for Brendan Rodgers' head by the looks of it. Celtic, on the other hand, in the last 5 games, they went on a straight run of 4 wins and then a draw. Statistically, Celtic never dropped points twice in a row until last December, where they lost 2 games on the trot. Will Celtic drop more points, or will they go out and win this game? Every game is a must-win game between now and the end of the season. With that being said, let's talk about the team and the formation. Now, Brendan Rodgers does like to play a 4-3-3 formation with the one and only Kyogo up the front himself, and the wingers meant to be putting in as many crosses as they can for Kyogo, but Kyogo hasn't been getting the service, we can all agree. Will he change formation? Will Brendan Rodgers go to 4-4-2 for this and play the 2 strikers that we now have at Celtic Park? I don't think he would play the 4-4-2. It's just a formation that I think eludes the man. Will he play a 4-5-1? Well, hopefully not, because we need a striker up. We need someone up there. Will he play a 5-3-2? Well, let's hope not. We don't need to be that defensive against the one and only mighty Hibernian at the moment. Will he play a 3-4-3 formation? We all know that he's probably going to stick with the formation that he has, but we would like to see him. A lot of people are saying let's go for a 3-5-2, especially in the Scottish League, and I've said that myself. There's no need for us to be sitting with 4 defenders at the back, although under Ange Postecoglou, the wing backs did move forward for these positions, sort of more into the midfield to help the midfield players push forward. So, with that being said, let's pick the team. The one and only Joe Hart. Scott Bain will be on the bench. Benji Siegrist is that far out the team. Celtic tried to get rid of him at the last transfer window. So we will go with Joe Hart there. And for this one, we're going to go with Liam Scales. Let me just see where is Scales there. We're going to put Liam Scales out where Greg Taylor would normally play. Scales has been covering that position when Greg Taylor pumps forward a lot of the season. And then in the middle of the pack, we're going to go with Big Rob Rocky. And if I could find him. No, Rocky. And I'm going to do this live. And there he is there. Like Mark Norrocky is going to be in the centre of the fence. And then on this side, I'm going to go. Now, a lot of people are saying give Tony Ralston a shout. I don't think Tony Ralston will get a shout on the right-hand side. It will be Alistair Johnston. Alistair Johnston, the Canadian international, although he's not hit top form, I do think that he will start. And I'm going to go with Alistair Johnston because I think can he defend a bit better than Scales? That's open to you. Tell me in the comments section. Right, up front, we're going to jump right up to the front of the field, and I'm going to go with Adam Ida on one side, and I'm going to go with Kyogo on the other. Kyogo Fury. That's Kobayashi. That's the wrong one. Okay. Kyogo Fury. If I can find him, there he is there. So we're going to go with the front two of Ida and Furiashi. And obviously, those two will swap sides during the game. Going to go into the centre of the park, and it will be the one and only Callum McGregor who will sit in the side, and then beside him it will be the one and only, if I could find him, let's see. Paulo Bernardo will sit on one side, and Matt O'Reilly will sit on the other. Why doesn't it have their full names? And Matt O'Reilly. This isn't the best apps, is it? Matt O'Reilly. There we go. So that's going to be your 3 in midfield. And then it's going to come down to the wingers. This is where it gets really interesting. Because obviously we've had Lewis Palmer and Abada the last couple of games. And let's face it, they haven't set the heather on fire. And Lewis Palmer missing 2 penalties on the trot. And his shooting's not been the best at the moment. So with that being said, I think we should put Iko Kun on one side. I thought he had a fantastic time when he came on. He did score that goal. And then on this side, if he is back From the Asia Cup, I'm going to go with Dyson Maida on the other side. Tell me what you think about that team. I think it's probably the strongest team that we have at Celtic. And then it all comes down to the formation. Will Celtic stay with a sort of 4-3-3 formation, which allows one player to come up through the middle, or will he go with a 3-5-2? I think Celtic should go for a 3-5-2, especially away from home, and especially for a team that hasn't been on sort of a great run of form. There's no need for us to sort of allow players that aren't hitting good form to be on the pitch. I mean, I think we need to go with our strongest team. And personally, I think that's probably the strongest team. We do need someone up there giving Kyogo Furuhashi a hand, someone that's a bit taller than him, someone that's a bit stronger, and somebody that can boss around that box and make a nuisance of themselves. Up steps Adam Ida. Tell me what you think about that formation and the team. I think the formation will probably be way off the mark. Brendan Rodgers will never go to a 3-5-2, although he has played it once or twice towards the end of games during this campaign. But will he start with that formation? Tell me what you think about the team. Liam Scales on the left, Rocky in the mid, in the centre of defence, and then Alistair Johnston. A lot of people are saying, look, give the one and only Tank the chance, but I don't think he's better than Alistair Johnston personally. He's good to come on as a replacement, but Alistair Johnston is the first team choice there. When it comes to the wingers, we do need to change it up, and I think the fact that these wingers at Celtic just now feel that there's no competition and they can walk straight into the team, especially Lewis Palmer. He seems to have a bit of an attitude about him and thinks that he's going to go on to greater things. You see him on his Instagram sitting watching the Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid game the other evening. He's got aspirations to go and play in Spain. If that's the fact, he needs to up his game, if you ask me personally, if he wants that big move to any Spanish club. Although, well, we had a defender last year that moved to a Spanish club, and that's not going too well for him, to be perfectly honest. They are down near the relegation zone. But it's all about Celtic. I think Celtic should go for a 3-5-2. It allows Callum McGregor to sit in the middle of the pack. Paulo Bernardo and Matt O'Reilly, they'll end up swapping sides during the game just to make a nuisance of themselves. And then it gives us the wide players right out in the wide and make sure that Dyson Maida, with all that pace he has, his final ball could be a little bit better. But with the fact that we play two strikers up front, hopefully the balls that come in from Kuhn and Dyson Maida is going to hit the two of them rather than just having the one. I think this is where, when you look at the problems that Celtic have been having this season, it's the fact that we've not been getting the balls into Kyogo. Now, Kyogo likes to run off the back of defenders and he likes to hit them with a bit of pace. But when teams are sitting way far back as they do, and I expect Hibernian to do the exact same tomorrow night, they will sit back on this low block. It's anti-football. Just call it low block all you want. In the real world, we'll call it anti-football. And it's all about just not getting beat. When you look at the results that Hibernian have had, I mean, they have lost 3 games and drawn 2 out of the last 5. So they should be there for the taking. They do turn up when it comes to Celtic. Celtic need a big performance with the Rangers playing this evening. If they win by more than, was that 7? If they win by more than 2 goals, they would go top of the league. They won't be looking down on Celtic, not because they'll only be different. They'll only be top of the league on point on goal difference if they were to go top this evening. Let's hope that the new manager at Aberdeen can do us a trick. And anyway, tell me what you think about that squad selection and name your squad and give me a score prediction. I think it's going to be a hard game and I think it's going to be one of those 1-0 games, maybe 2-0 at a push. Can't see us. We've not been in the greatest goal scoring form. You never know. If Brendan Rodgers goes to a 3-5-2, maybe be a goal fest. Tell me what you think in the comments. Now let's get back to your Celtic news and any headlines that are out and about the Celtic this morning. One of them, obviously, Celtic do have a player that his value has soared by 19,000%. The magician, is he a magician in midfield? I don't think Matt O'Reilly's a magician. But when you look at the Celtic trading model, they sell the players, the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Jota, Musa Dembele, Odsonne Edouard, among others who have been sold for big fees. It looks like the one and only Matt O'Reilly will be the next one out the door. Kieran Tierney's 25 million move from Celtic to Arsenal was probably the biggest deal until last summer when Jota walked out the building for 25 million. Looks like Matt O'Reilly will be sold in the summer for the one and only fee of around about 25 to 30 million. The fact that he was bought for 1.5 million in January 2022, we all know that it's going to be only a matter of time before he is sold. There's been a lot of speculation and a lot of talk about the fact that Celtic nearly signed another 2 players. There's no use. This, Celtic are never going to go out and spend the money that we all thought. Brendan Rodgers has said that he thought that Celtic could have been braver in the transfer window. Braver, that was an interesting choice of words from the Celtic manager. We could have been braver in the transfer window. We could have went out and spent some money. The new look Celtic front line can steer the club out of stormy waters. And Franz Alonso, you remember him, the manager, the fantastic manager of the women's team. The Celtic's football women's team has been talking about the fact that the reason he left Celtic was because of transfers and player retention. Transfers and player retention, the fact that Celtic wouldn't spend a little bit more money. Where does that sound? Awfully familiar. I wonder. And there's a manager that's got the balls to leave Celtic and then talk about it. Talk about that. That's the real reason that he left, because Celtic wouldn't spend the money and they couldn't retain players. Anyway, on that note, give me your score prediction in the comment section. Give me your team selection in the comment section also, and then we can talk about them this evening. On that note, have a fantastic day, Celtic fans all around the world.